This is IA Forward, your playbook for success as an independent insurance agent. Now, here to help you knock it out of the ballpark are your hosts, Shane Tatum, Tanya Lead, Mike Basil, and Robbie Jabor.
Welcome to the 300th episode of the IA Forward podcast. Shane, I need you to be in rah-rah mode, please, just for one day. One day, I need it from you.
I have been practicing this and it's not happening. Like I have literally been like, okay, I have to be excited because Tanya is going to be excited and I have to be excited and I'm doing it for her and I'm failing because I'm like, but I really am excited. Like I just don't have a way of outwardly expressing it. Does that mean I'm like got a problem? Stoic? Is that, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm too even keel, right? Like I need a little more like, let's go, I can't even fake the let's go.
You can't.
Well,
I want to say thank you to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, obviously, Robbie and I have not been a part of the 300, but we are proud of you guys for what you've accomplished here with that. And, I am able to show you guys my excitement level and be super excited for you. So, hey, awesome. Shane, I got you.
That is fantastic. That really is. The real question is that a hat you normally have, or is that a new hat for this occasion? Because I got to know.
So the truth of the story on this hat is that we have some Jewish friends, and one of their sons had their bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
And part of that party was these hats.
Okay. All right. I like the hat. So that's impressive. I do. I see. Why can't I be creative like that? Right? Why look at Robbie Mike coming out of his shell, showing his creativity side.
Right.
Impressive.
Me coming out of my shell is a term I've not heard in quite a long time.
I'm just having this vision of Marcel the Shell and his videos. Do y'all watch those? You ever seen these?
No.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
No, Marcel the Shell. He's just like this little happy guy. And anyway, okay.
I'll have to listen.
But I want to express my gratitude to our listeners. Like, thank you so much. We do this for y'all. And when we started doing this, Shane did not believe that this was a good idea. We've told y'all this over and over and over again. And it really took a few years of convincing Shane that we should do this. And you guys have listened to us and let us know that this means something to you and it's helped you in your agencies and it's helped you grow and kept you sane sometimes. And so that's the big thing for me is thank you guys for the opportunity of doing this for 300 episodes. I look forward to 300 more because that means that I'm still employed about 6 years later. So that would be absolutely fantastic. And I will tell you, that was a little bit of a concern for me. I was like, when we started this, like, what if I say something and Shane is like, okay, you can't play with us anymore and you need to go do something else. And in 300 episodes, that has yet to happen.
How many, this is kind of one of those things, you're probably not going to have this number, but like, I know we've talked about the average podcast episode is like 7, right? Or not episode. The average podcast tenure is like 7 episodes, right? So how many actually make it to 300? That's a good question, right? I know we don't have that answer, but I'll throw that out there. What percent actually makes it to 300? For clarity. All right. Just to redeem myself a little bit here. I didn't say that a podcast was a bad idea. I said I didn't know if I wanted to be involved in a podcast. I also said everybody's putting out a podcast. We're just going with the flow. And I don't know if the podcast world is like a fad or if it's that was really kind of the thing that I wrestled with. And then when we started doing it, I mean, you talk about a guy that talks a lot, getting an opportunity to get his words out once a week on a podcast. It was very, like it become like a therapy thing for me. Like, okay, let's record the podcast. Because when we first started, Tanya, we did 2 a week.
We did.
Wow. We were really ambitious. Really, really ambitious, because we did 2 a week, and it was a little bit exhausting for a while. So
yes. But for your statistics,
okay,
90% of podcasts don't make it past 7.
Okay.
Less than 3% make it to 100, and well under 1% ever reach 300.
Whoa.
So this is not like a successful launch thing. This is longevity. This is discipline. And this is consistency. And so, like, we actually did what we were supposed to do.
Shane may have been a little reluctant to, do the podcast up front, but after your first few episodes, Tanya, I caught him signing autographs outside of his office with a few of the employees. So I think
there you go.
I think he enjoys it.
I opened the door and set up a table. Like, should I do that? Should I open the door, set up a table and say, autographs on, and just see what people do when they walk by and look at me?
But he set people up because
what Robbie and Mike, y'all may not know this, but for Christmas this year, I actually bought Shane a light up on air sign to have his official on air sign that he has yet to put up in his office.
I haven't put it up yet. It's right here. It's out of sight, but I haven't done it yet. It's coming. It's coming. I got to figure some things out. This right here has got to work itself out. Right. So,
well, my wife buys anything, or my kids, and they want it on the wall. They have an expectation that that's a 4 to 6 month wait before I get around to putting anything up. So, you just got to have the expectations in the right place.
That's right.
Yeah.
So how did we get to 300 episodes? I mean, seriously, this is a lot.
It is. And I think this parallels the insurance agency business really, really closely. And I really think that it's a great topic, because even though we're celebrating 300, and really what was it? It was showing up. Like that's the thing that comes to my mind, is it was showing up and doing it, right? It wasn't just talking about it. I mean, we talked about it for a couple of years. Like you encouraged it for a couple of years, you pushed for it, but really it was when we stopped talking about it, we started showing up and doing it regardless of the result, right? Like, you can go back and listen to some of those very first podcasts, and I mean, my ear doesn't hear the stuff that Tanya's ear hears, but I mean, it's not as bad as I would make it out, or she would make it out, but like, it's drastically different today than it was day one. And, when you start out as an agency owner, you're not the best, you're not necessarily the best agent in the world either, right? Like it's like anything. You just keep showing up, you keep doing it over and over again, and eventually you become decent at it, pretty good at it. Then maybe you become, like, I would say we're elite at this point, in the top 1%, right? I mean, I really haven't gotten to say that I'm elite at anything in my life. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there that we're elite when it comes to the podcast world, because we're in the top 1%, or even less. And
yes, so, significantly less than 1%.
Yeah. So, the showing up thing is, and every day just getting after it is the first thing that comes to my mind.
I mean, we didn't get here because something went viral. We didn't get this big applause or overnight growth or anything. We got to 300 simply because we didn't quit. We didn't give up.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't done the Kelsey brothers things and sold our portfolio for like 100 million that I'm aware of. I don't think we've done that. I mean, I don't see us down that path necessarily, but we've got, we had an intentional plan with this podcast and, to promote the independent agency system, to be there for independent agency owners, to give, whether it's interviews we're doing, whether it's lessons learned, talk about it openly, the failures. Like, I think that's another thing, is just sharing our failures. And maybe a lot of people aren't willing to do that because, I don't know, maybe they just don't have that in them to share their failures. I have zero problem sharing my failures. It's just not something that bothers me. And I think that's a big part of how we got here as well.
Now, there's two distractions that within a podcast that can make people quit. And one of those is noise. And then one of those is silence, right? So people are either telling you, hey, you're not doing this right. You need to do this better. The critics, the shiny objects, the opinions, and all of the things, right? And then the other side of that is the silence. Like when your downloads go down, or there's no comments, or there's no validation that what you're doing is helping anybody. And I think those same things apply to owning our agencies, right? I mean, you're going to get silence. You're going to get noise. Your growth is going to be slow. Leads are going to dry up. Markets are going to shift like they have over the last 3 years. And you're looking and everyone else is claiming to be crushing it, right? And you're only really seeing what they're doing really, really, really well, or what version they're sharing with you. And so sometimes you can just really feel like you're on an island.
Yeah, I think this gets back to a conversation we had a few episodes ago where we talked about staying off the roller coaster, right? You need to keep an even keel. You have to keep showing up. You have to keep getting after it. And you cannot pay attention to what other people are saying, because to your point, Tanya, people will embellish what they have actually accomplished. So for the agency down the street to say they've done all these wonderful things, there's nothing stopping them from embellishing all of that. And the bottom line is you need to show up. And another thing that's important, I think, that's a little off the topic of how we got here, but another thing that's really important is not burning bridges and not having people saying negative things about you because you didn't return phone calls or they had this bad experience talking to you. Like, I can honestly say the reason I'm here today is because I didn't burn bridges when I was 21 years old. Because the entire process of me getting from my very first job as an intern in an agency to now is a pretty straight line. And it was all because I showed up. I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't burn bridges when I left places. And then they brought me back. That's happened 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah. You mentioned, people will embellish things. And the first thing that went into my brain was, the mom posting little Johnny hit a triple, and then what you want to do is in the comments, you want to say ground ball and 2 errors, right? Like,
That's the truth.
Is
That's the truth. Yeah.
To the game changer crowd out there, according to Game Changer stats, little Johnny's hitting 720 on the season, but we all know that's not real, right?
That's right. What amazes me is 300 episodes in, and you guys have managed to bring a different topic to the IA channel on every episode. Which kind of think about that. Like, how many different things can we talk about?
Yeah, because insurance is boring, right? So
Right,
how can you
right.
possibly come up with that many topics? there's a few variations and tweaks and things come back around. And I think that's kind of where we are today is, you guys bring fresh voices and thoughts and additional thoughts to the podcast. And it's okay. Like the things that we talked about 2 years ago, it's not even recycling. Like there's a whole new audience that needs to hear some of that information.
Right.
We need to hear things in a repetitive mode. Right. And I really think that's a great point, because we kind of need to take the pressure off of ourselves to not worry about that. Like, oh, well, didn't we talk about that a year ago? Like, okay, so what? What if we did? Like, talk about it again, because if it's coming back up, it's probably important and somebody probably needs to hear it. And I think that's a big part of staying consistent in a podcast and continuing to put out content. I mean, really it's create value, right? Create value for people that are listening, watching on YouTube now. I mean, we've adjusted as well. I mean, I challenged Tanya through Tanya curveball, her and Dave a couple of months ago, almost like, hey, I think we need to do this differently. I think we need to throw some video out there. I think we need to kind of challenge ourselves to go to the next level. And here we are. Right. And so that's something new. We get a whole new group of hopefully additional listeners, without losing people along the way.
From the guy who didn't even want to do it. Hey, where's the video?
I know. And it's like, do we really want to put our face out there? Like, the face, I have you have a face for radio type stuff. Like
that's me. I have always had a face for radio, but now I get to be more seasoned and people are seeing me, where this could have happened in my 20s and I was a lot cuter.
Gosh.
Look great.
But what Robbie hasn't brought up, and I'm shocked about this because he's being humble, is after 300 episodes, Robbie's first episode is still our most listened to episode.
That's unbelievable to me. I don't know how that happened.
I think the thing that bothers me about that is we have to give Robbie some credit. So that kind of bothers me a little bit. Right. And then, but we got to give Jeff, Jeff Havard, hate to even say his full name right now publicly, all kidding aside, we got to give Jeff credit. I mean, that podcast, you want to laugh, you go listen to that podcast, because, the two of them in the same room was fun. There's just no way around it.
It was the ultimate bromance podcast.
It was. And
But Robbie and Mike are starting to develop that. They really are.
I was
Don't worry, Mike.
real jealous.
He's coming. Don't worry. We're still get there.
Mike's like, who is this guy?
Wait, what are we talking about right now?
Who came before me? What's going on? Well,
so Robbie, you have worked with so many of our partner agents, bringing them on board, being with them through their agency life cycle. What do you think that is the best piece of advice that you share with our agents to help them when they get to this, I just don't know if I can do it, keep going mode?
Well, we don't shy away from our faith. I actually, was talking to a prospect not too long ago, and he kind of struck me as an individual that is a man of prayer. And, he was talking about the opportunity, and I said, you need to pray about it. I was like, God will give you the guidance, and he'll help you, make the right decision. And so I think you got to take a step back and you got to look at, what Shane's talked about over the last year, the infinite game. You can't get caught up in what's going on today. I mean, although today is important, you have to look at, it's kind of like when you start your own agency, the first few months, as you guys know, are tough. You're learning new things. And you may get to a point to where you think, gosh, I don't know if I can do this. You got to have that mindset where you can go down 12 months, you can look back and you're going to say, I wish I would have done this sooner. We hear that all the time. Every agent that joins us that's successful, every single one of them says the same thing. I wish I would have done this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or whatever. So just understanding the long term, the infinite game, I think that puts them in the right mindset to be able to endure today.
I think one thing that agents in a broader sense or broader terms tend to have a difficult time with is getting past this idea that their peers are always their competition. And that is not the case. So when you join a group, you now have all these other agents that have gone through these same things that you have that you can lean on. Or in our case, if it's us, it's us that you can also lean on because Integra's been in that same spot. You don't have to go it alone in these types of things. Other people have been in these same spots. Rely on them to give you a little bit of help in getting through those tough spots.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. One of the things for our group, we have a conference every year, and a lot of the agents have renamed it the Integra Family Reunion. So to your point, they're not competing against you. They want to help you. They want you to succeed. And, that's true for us. We see it in our agent connection page. We see it at a conference. And you're right. That's very important.
I have a little bit of a story behind that. The independent agency system traditionally, when I go back to my early days, which would have been in the 90s, I feel like the 80s and 90s independent agency system, there was a cultural difference then where you didn't talk to your competitor. Like you really were kind of on an island, and agency owners during those days, those multi-generational agency owners, they built a culture around competition. Yes. But even within their agencies, it became just something you didn't do. It was highly frowned on. And I think it goes from the sports world. Like this was something I had to kind of figure out and maybe correct a little bit. When I played for Oklahoma State, I played for the great Gary Ward, just an incredible coach. 15 or 16 College World Series, like 15 straight, I think, Big 8 championships, like just an incredible pedigree. Coach Ward's culture, which I highly respect, was you don't go to battle with somebody for 9 innings and then shake their hand and act like they're your friends, right? Like that was just that maybe boomer, old school, just like tough ball coach kind of mindset. And so we were ridiculed for sportsmanship, right? Like, it was like bad. The Oklahoma State baseball program was we embarrassed a lot of teams that would come to shake our hands after the game where their coach didn't know and warn them. And we were going out down the right field or left field line, depending on what dugout we were in, to talk with each other. We shook each other's hands, but we didn't shake our opponent's hands. Now, for those of you in modern day 2026, with kids on the field, and you're cringing right now, right? You're cringing about the whole social aspect of that mindset. And what are we teaching our kids? I mean, keep in mind, this is major college baseball. This is big stuff. And so this was just the way he coached. That's the way the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s looked in the independent agency system. Like you went to conferences and you went in silos around at the conferences. You didn't, the agent associations struggled a lot because of this sort of mindset. Our exclusive agency friends, as more and more agents have exited that system and joined the independent agency system, many of them, obviously, we have experience with joining our network. They taught me a difference here. Like they actually showed me how exactly what Robbie's talking about is that you can actually learn from others, and so many of your peers want to help you. Like I have been absolutely blown away at some of the more experienced members of our agency network who pour into less experienced members of our network, like voluntarily, like just like, hey, if you ever need my help. And some of them have literally called me, hey, Shane, if y'all ever need my help with a newer agent, an agent with a little less experience, I am willing to serve. Like no strings attached, just I'm willing to serve. That is incredible, like to the testament of those individuals and the culture there. And, you know, so many people, like I get credit for building a culture as leader of the organization, but the culture has actually been created by the members of the network, the partners within the network itself. And so this is huge that they're, to Mike's point, you don't have to silo yourself. Your peers don't have to be your direct competition. Especially in personal lines, 60% of the market isn't in the independent agency channel. There's a lot of market share to go after that you're not going to be competing with your buddies. Just a fact.
Shane, you're telling this story, and I love hearing you talk about playing for Gary Ward. But Kurt Signetti, like watching Indiana's coach during a game, I mean, I have never seen a coach get so mad because his players scored. I mean, like you can see his players get a touchdown, and it's almost like they should have done it better. They should have done it faster. They should have done this. You never see any joy or emotion. Like there was finally just a little bit this week after the Oregon game. You could see that he actually was enjoying the victory. But that was the first time I have ever, for the entire year, even seen him be happy after winning a game, right? And that goes back to that idea of being even keel. And Shane talks about this. And y'all, I have tried that for 2 years. And it doesn't work for me. And that's okay. I've really struggled with this. I've prayed over this. This is what our CEO wants me to be. He wants me to be something I'm not. I've tried to do it. I've journaled on it. I've written on it. I've done everything that I can to be the person that he wants me to be. And guess what? I can't. But then I thought about it and I'm like, well, we can't all be just like Shane. I mean, we can want to be just like Shane, but we can't.
You can't be like
but
him.
I can look at women and men within our organization, like Mitzi Fox, like Brian Besh. I mean, we have agents within our organization that get excited and do have this rah-rah thing. And I was finally to the point that I'm just like, okay, I can't be something I'm not. I can try to be even keeled and I can make the decision to choose systems over emotional decisions and just keep going. But I have to have my intensity or I just can't be me and accomplish the things I want to accomplish. So that's one of the things that I want to, tell anybody that's listening or watching. Yes, we talk about being even keeled all the time. But if what makes you is the energy that you have and embracing those highs and sometimes embracing those lows, and that's what you need to do to have progress. What works for one of us works for one of us, right?
Yeah, I think the clarity on that is most people can't. Like, the excitement is great. Like I get excited.
Obviously
my girls would say,
Yeah, excitement is getting 85 beats per minute.
does this not look like excitement to you? What? I don't know.
I want to know what it looks like.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
I've been at ball games when his girls had great success. There's not excitement.
there's excitement. When I was coaching my girls, you know, I've done my share of fist pumps and excitement and, you know, catchphrases, whatever, and jumped up and down a little bit and got excited. You know, I did that as an athlete. I got excited at times, right? And that was sort of a learned thing. I would say it was something that was learned because as a high school and an early college athlete, I was the direct opposite of that. I was overly emotional, right? I know you don't believe that today, but I was actually, I was smaller, so I played angry and I played with so much emotion that it affected my actual play. And so that became sort of a learned thing. And I think that's the point. Like, no, everybody's not going to be stoic or even keeled completely. And there's certainly times to get excited around the wins, right? And having wins and being excited about that. My thing on that is witnessing people who can't handle the down portions of that, right? They get so high that they can't come back from the struggle, right? That it actually takes them into depression. It takes them into something else. That's where I encourage people to be a little more even, right? Like if you have to know yourself, like if you can go up here over and over and over again and then fail and pick yourself back up and be back to where you need to be, then you can play the infinite game and you can stay in the game, right? But if you can't do that, you have to watch out, right? Like you have to understand that if you can't bring yourself back from the failure, if there's not an internal engine, right? If you need that outward motivation and you don't have that intrinsic motivation to bring yourself back from the depths of despair, the struggle, the loss, right? The failure, well, then you got to control the high, right? Because way up here and way down there is not going to work. Bumping up and going up and getting excited is fine as long as you can control the downward slope and feel and understand how to deal with that. I think that's the thing about even keel that I would want people to understand. It doesn't mean never get excited. It just means control yourself in the sense that you know what you're capable of when the failure comes, because the failure's coming. I promise. It is what it is. The failure is coming.
Yeah, there's a balance there, right? Like you got to be able to, like you said, to do both, because you will fail with certain things, you know. I mean, it doesn't mean you're going to be, you know, whatever business that is, whether it's agency or not, it doesn't mean that agency is going to fail, but there's going to be parts of your process and your walk through your agency that are going to work and some that aren't. So you got to have that mental balance.
I think it's important to know your triggers too. So for me personally, if this happens to me, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I will get an email from somewhere and it will have something in it that makes me angry. And my first inclination is to respond immediately. But then I have to stop and I say, well, now wait, let's not respond to this email for 2 hours and then come back to it, read it again. And then I will come up with my answer then. You know, it's understanding those things that and make sure you don't let them get you.
Rob,
It goes back to Tanya's life tip number 2. There are 3 things in life we cannot change: the truth, the past, and other people.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing we have any control of is our attitude toward those things. And if I start to get upset, my husband will look at me and he will hold up 2 fingers and he will go, 2. And then I start to tell myself that, and then I'm okay.
So we're going to need a list of those triggers, Mike. So we can send you some emails.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think sort of along that same line, another thing that's important in knowing yourself is as your agency grows or as it morphs in a different way, in terms of maybe you have a merger with another agency or it's time to start hiring people, you have to be really mindful of who you are and decide what type of personality that you would match up with, especially when you're talking about mergers. If you're someone who runs hot a lot, if you go and merge with someone with that same personality, that could be very problematic.
That's good. That's a good point. A lot of mergers fail because of that right there, right? The blending of cultures. There's your note to self for all of us. A podcast topic in the future is, cultural blending of mergers and acquisition. That's a real struggle, right? That's a real struggle for people. Cultural alignment. Did it work? Do the people fit? Does the new leadershit? Who's going to lead? Right? Who's actually going to be in charge? There's got to be some final decision maker in every organization. It can't, at least from a committee standpoint, you can't do it from a committee. You can't manage by committee. It's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking back to this being our 300th episode, there are so many times that we could have stopped. There are so many times that, especially during softball season for Shane, he was traveling. There's times during the summer in January when I'm traveling. We actually use the process of putting this podcast together to figure out how to work remotely, how to be able to do what we love to do, to have this as a lifestyle business and still be able to be functioning in working full time, right? And that was something that neither one of us had really figured out 100% how to do. And this podcast has taught us that.
Yeah, it never really occurred to me till now, but the great Armageddon freeze of 2021 in Texas, where everything froze for a week to 10 days and nobody could go anywhere. And, that was not too far away from the starting of the podcast. And, those two things were very instrumental in remote work for us and just figuring things out. And I think that is also part of the agency ownership, especially the producer to agency ownership leap. The podcast as an example here, showing up and doing it over and over again, is just letting go of maybe that it's got to be perfect, that it's got to be just, fully fine-tuned before we go public with it. I mean, it's really helped me be better at that, to not get so worked up about, what's the final product look like. Now, obviously we don't want to look like yahoos. I mean, we don't want to be goofy and necessarily be, goofy's okay, but, we don't want to be just total ignorant, right? When we produce something, but doing things and putting it out there and just being able to just get better at it. Like this makes me feel dumb, but like I talked to myself and listened to myself on afternoon, evening walks for several weeks, maybe even months during some of our first podcast and in the early days of our podcast. I don't do it as much anymore, but I did it. At first I was like, am I a narcissist? Like, this feels weird. Like, I don't think I am, but I'm literally speaking for like 5 minutes and then I'm listening to myself talk. Like, what did I just say? It helped me learn how to be a better speaker. Still not what I want to be. I don't know that there's ever a final, resting place there, but it's like I'm better than I was. It's also helped me be a better communicator in general. Like, still fail, but at the same time, I'm much better than I was 3-4 years ago. All of these things are improvements. And this podcast has been a big, like almost individual, like self-development, improvement, work on yourself type of activity that we've just done publicly. Like we've just done it. Right. And, it's taught me a lot. And I think that's another parallel to starting an agency, owning an agency, running an agency, is it's okay to not be the best agency in the world on week number 1. Like, it's just not realistic. Your goal is, are you better in week 2 than you were week 1? And are you better at the end of year 1 than you were when you started? And just keep going and keep going, keep showing up. There is a reward. Like, the agency business, 3 to 5 years can be extremely rewarding. Certainly when you get to that 7 or 8 year mark, it can be overwhelmingly rewarding, almost like pinch yourself. And so I think that's just a reality of where we've come from here.
This is the result of thousands of conversations, showing up when we're tired, recording when life is hard, doing it anyway. And it's been about commitment. And those are all things that you have to deal with as an agency owner, right? And you have to decide on your processes, and your processes will work, right? When it is a quiet season, keep going. When it's noisy, you have to figure out how to stay focused. And when you start questioning yourself on whether or not it's worth it, it is worth it.
Absolutely. It's extremely rewarding, and it's an extremely rewarding business model.
Yes. So if you love insurance, if you love property and casualty insurance, we would love to talk to you. The Integra Partner Network is open around the country to help you be a successful independent agent. Robbie and Mike and I would love the opportunity to talk with you and share more about what we do with agents to help you guys be successful.
Awesome.
I knew Mike was going to have some kind of snarky comment. I'm waiting for it.
No, I don't have a snarky comment. I was just waiting for the football picks because I'm not superstitious, because that's for weak-minded people, right? So I'm not going to say I'm that, but I also don't want to just go, without doing the picks this week.
Right.
Did you just put your onesie on?
Yes.
These guys.
Okay, you must once again model the onesie, because that is part of. Yep.
It's not a jacket. That's what it's actually something that it's sort of distorting my view. I'm just starting to see the onesie concept, and Mike in the onesie. I'm a little bit tarnished. I think I'm worried. Like, does Josh Allen have a onesie? That's the question. I feel like he probably has a Bills onesie. I feel like it's the whole Bills Mafia thing. They actually have Bills onesies, Christmas onesies. So
anyway. Holly and I have always been co-chair of the Rah-Rah committee, but I think I might have to step down and let Mike take over in my position.
That's awesome.
So if we're going to talk picks, I redeemed myself last week. After the college football playoff quarterfinals, I was just kind of wondering, since I missed every single one of them, I think, I I was just
You got
wondering if I
Miami?
should retire. Yeah, I did. That's right. I did
Miami,
pick Miami. But I was starting to wonder if I should retire from college football. But this week I was good. So I think Shane wasn't quite as good this week.
I don't even remember my picks. Obviously didn't pick Miami. I think I picked Oregon to win there, but I think my pick was I needed Miami to win to make the Aggies look better. But I think I picked Oregon there. Just, I don't know. Carson Beck, I got to quit doubting him, I guess. I've been an anti Carson Beck guy, and I need to, he's kind of shutting me down on that. So, but I'm going Indiana either way, even though it's Miami's home field. I just think they're trying to become the second best college football team in history behind the 2019 LSU Tigers. But I think they're trying to make an appeal to certain parts of the country that they might be just as good. So I'm going with Indiana on that pick.
Yeah.
There will never be a team like the 2019 LSU Tigers. All during that game, especially in the last half, they were starting to compare the two. I'm like, y'all just don't go there. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I am with you that I definitely think it's going to be Indiana.
They're just so sound. They're very, very disciplined. I read a stat on them the other day. They don't have any 4 or 5 star recruits on this team, which is unbelievable because of the amount of 4 and 5 star athletes they're playing against.
Yeah.
So I'm going Indiana, man.
I'll go with Indiana as well. But speaking of doubting, last week, Robbie, you doubted
I did.
My Bills. How did that work out for you?
It didn't work out for me. And I repeatedly told you I wanted Josh Allen to win. I just didn't think they could go to Jacksonville with the way they've been playing and doing it. However, now I'm going with
Here we go.
I'm going with the Bills, baby.
There we go.
All the way. Yes, sir. Not picking against JA-17 again.
That is amazing. This is why people need to start watching the video if they're not.
I can't bet against the Bills with Josh Allen behind. As long as he's under center, I'm going with the Bills.
Right. Yeah.
Until he runs into the Texans defense, assuming they both survive in advance, right? But I'm betting on my Texans, of course, but I no longer doubt the Texans defense, period. I know they're number 1 ranked defense. I know they're good, but I know I'm doing 2 picks in one, but I got the Bills and the Texans for sure.
I'm with Shane on that. I've got the Bills and the Texans. I've kind of got my Bills blue on today. I did not wear light blue today, which I think I have worn in every single video that we have done so far. So I did shift to a darker Bills blue just for Mike. So I'm with Shane. But by the way, I love it when Houston wears the shiny red helmets.
Oh,
I know I sound like a girl. I'm going to do some color commentating there, but I do love those red helmets that they did this year. They just look fantastic.
The solid red, all red, red on red uniform is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll go Houston as well. I mean, you let that game, that was ridiculous against Pittsburgh. Houston could have actually left their offense at home and still won that game. And that is damning on Pittsburgh and says a lot about Houston's defense all in one.
Yeah, DeMarco's got those guys playing crazy good football on that defensive side. I just hope CJ can play better, not make the same kind of mistakes that he did yesterday. But I got the Texans as well. So Bills and Texans in the AFC Championship. That'll be a home game for the Texans. If that
Yeah,
happens.
get them back in the NRG. Yeah,
NRG.
yeah. Which would
Mike is now trying to figure out how to make a quick trip to Huntington, Texas that week.
Hey,
you can expense that, Mike, because you can work. You can come to
Shane,
work
when's
for a
our-
couple days.
is our on-site? Is there a February on-site, Shane? Did I?
That's funny.
We all need to get together and podcast in person, right?
That's right.
Who else
All
are we
right, Mike,
picking?
Yeah, start us off, Mike, with the NFC.
So let's just do Seattle, San Francisco. I like San Francisco, but no Kittle, no Warner, no Bosa. That's just too many guys that are so important out. And Seattle's defense is just as good as Houston's. I would say Seattle.
Yeah, me too. I'm going with the Seahawks. Just too much to overcome on the defensive side.
I don't want to bet against Purdy, but with his weapons, not having all the weapons, I think that hurts. I think Purdy's I think he's in a different way. He's just a Josh Allen type winner. Not the same type physical player, but
Right.
I hate betting against that kid, that dude. He's just like he is, but I got to go with Seattle.
Me too. And I don't know if we've all ever agreed like this before. It's a little disconcerting.
That means
All these people lose.
Upset loading.
Right.
Upset loading. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, last game. Boy, Puka did not play particularly well last game. He did have that pass breakup in the end zone that was really important, but other than that, he was not very good. That's not going to happen 2 weeks in a row. I'm going Rams.
Yeah, I think the Bears' luck runs out this week. I'm going Rams as well.
All right. 3 for 3. I'm a Rams guy. Going for it.
I don't know. I think that it's been so long for Chicago. It's somewhat like the Cubs, and sometimes you just got to root for them. And so I'm going to go Chicago.
All right. We will see.
Awesome. Mike, did I redeem myself, bro?
Yeah, you're right. The day you made that pick, I couldn't have been more excited for my wife to get home. I was like, Melissa, listen to what Robbie said today. And she had that look on her face like, that is unfortunate.
You call that guy a friend?
Well, y'all, 300 episodes in, it is Cal Ripken Jr. It has to be. Like, the key to success is consistency. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us. Big shout out to the fabulous Dave Maxwell for producing for us for the last 300 episodes. He is truly the unsung hero that makes sure that we come and chat with y'all every week. So a huge, huge thank you for him. But consistency has built this show, and that is not going to change. This is not a finish line. This is just the beginning for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dave. And he's the Charlie in the Charlie's Angels, to date myself a little bit. You don't see him, but he's the one that makes it all work behind the scenes. So we really, really appreciate him. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us. Let's do 300 more.
I'm going to leave us today with this quote from Tom Brady. You don't get results overnight. You get results over time.
Attitude's a choice. Make a great one.
At the Integra Partner Network, we understand that carrier access is the key to your agency's success. That's why Integra offers direct access to top-rated personal and commercial carriers, ensuring your agency thrives in today's challenging market. And with our comprehensive resources, profit sharing and bonus opportunities, technology and peer support, all while you retain 100% of your book with no penalties to exit. Integra is ready to empower you and your agency to find sustained growth. Find your way to Integra. Visit IntegraPartnerNetwork.com today. That's IntegraPartnerNetwork.com.